Ladies and gentlemen, they have done it. Minions are finally insane. Your army of the dead hitting for billions, your golem smashing for billions, your skeleton, everything just going bonkers. Look at that multiplier. We're talking about a 101,000%, putting your army of the dead at a standard damage of 620 million. And then everything still multiplies into it. How does it work? What does it do? Let's get a boss target dummy. This is Army of the Dead now. Army of the Dead is being boosted by your Skeleton Mage and Golem bonus damage. And that equates currently to 101,000% with everything going on. Your minions are just randomly hitting away for 500,000, million, and millions. We can do the Golem ulti, which does a lot of damage as well and can easily crit. Then we can stack up, for example, Flesh Eater, which will boost the damage of Army of the Dead. And then if we activate Army of the Dead itself and everything, all our damage, suddenly there's just billions, 17 billion of damage popping out. And the damage goes up by huge values because of the aspect of Army of the Dead. There you go. We're sitting at 620 million base damage, plus all our multipliers multiplying like crazy. But the Army of the Dead aspect boosts everything. While Army of the Dead is active, your minions take reduced damage. Cool. And you deal 200% increased summon damage. Now your skeletons are summons. Your golem is a summon. And then last but not least, your Army of the Dead is a summon as well. Which means that everything your Army of the Dead does is also 200 times multiplied. This is not a plus 200 damage. This is an x 200 damage. And since, for example, something like Grasping Veins also works with your minions now, and with Army of the Dead. That's incredible. We get 30% increased crit chance. That would be 30% here, then 25% from our rune, and another 60% crit damage multiplier. On what are we sitting here? 900% critical strike damage, getting us easily all the way up to almost 100% crit chance as we then trigger Army of the Dead. Now, which bonuses are though all counting into this? And that's all your Golem Mastery and Mage Mastery stuff. This is right now 101%. We got 14 ranks in Golem Mastery for 350% damage multiplier. Let's assume I would yoink all out of that. That's only 275. And suddenly our bonus drops by 30,000 because all the multipliers, additive bonuses, everything Skeleton Mage and Golem related is multiplying into this. Let's get the 3 points back. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And we're sitting at 101% again. My ring gives me 126.8% Skeleton Mage damage. Let's take this off for a second. And you're again losing. Look at the amount of damage we're losing, because this 126.8% Skeleton Mage damage is being boosted by all your Skeleton Mage masteries. But then this bonus, since it's multiplying up with your Golem damage bonus, everything together gets multiplied up by your Golem damage bonuses as well for Army of the Dead. That's 140% Golem damage. Put that away, and we're dropping significantly downward. And since we got a very new item, the Blood Moon Breaches, you can get 4 ranks to Golem Mastery. And that's not even the greater affix one. We could easily get a +6, 7 ranks to Golem Mastery on this item. And you deal 50% increased critical strike damage to enemies affected by your curse. That's a multiplier. 50% more crit damage and 60%, 110% more critical strike damage. Boy, and that 50% more crit and that 60% more crit, these two obviously do work with Ring of Mendeln. Because Ring of Mendeln now properly actually scale. And the same still goes for the Fell Gluttony from your Golem. That does also explode even harder than ever. And to take things to the next level, we added more ranks to our Army of the Dead with a Harlequin Crest, because every rank multiplies insane. It's 220,000% right now. Let's remove 1, 208, 196,000, 183,000. This is immense. Every rank more is crazy. If I only had 5 ranks in it without the bonus 4 ranks, it's only 171,000. This is 220. And since we're playing a new rune or an updated rune, You can add even more ranks to this, because with a Vex rune, you can now push skill ranks even further. Gain +1 to all skills for 10 seconds, or skill ranks up to 3 if you overflow this. Which gets us to 12 Army of the Dead ranks. 12. In this case, another 12,000% more per rank. That's without the greater affixes on the Ring of Mendel, the chest, the pants. And we haven't even touched on seasonal powers yet, because seasonal powers make your minions even stronger. This is Grow Witch power. After casting an ultimate skill, and my ultimate is quite cooldowned a lot of times, every 7 seconds at least, your servants, minions, and companions are empowered with dark magics, growing larger in size and dealing 45% bonus damage and gaining 100% critical strike chance. Now it says servants, minions, and companions. And with Army of the Dead being a summon skill, these are now servants, minions, and companions kinda. That bonus applies there too, and the critical strike chance as well. Let's add in Soul Harvest. Feed up in the life force of nearby enemies whenever you use a skill with a cooldown, increasing your primary stat by 1% per monster for 15 seconds. Hello? That's just in the pit later, pit 100, pit 110, pit 120. You often have 20 enemies around you, or more. And we could get 20% more to our primary stat. That's a huge damage increase. Aura specialization. The size of your aura effects is increased by 42%, okay? Increase the critical strike damage by 35% plus only against enemies inside your aura effect. Ching. Works really well. Bringing us to the gems. While you have an aura active, your ultimate skill gain each witchcraft tag. In this case, Eldritch, Psyche, Growth and Decay, and I think Hex probably too, and deal 10% increased damage. 10% on already 620 million base damage, dealing tens of billions. Makes sense, I like it. While you have 3 or more Growth and Decay witch power slotted, you gain 8% primary stat and 10% max life. Not only good for overpower builds, also just another 8% main stat to juice your damage further forward. And one of my favorite ones for people that still feel unsure. While you have a witch power with the summon tag slotted, if you would take fatal damage, instead prevent that damage, then gain a barrier equal to 100% of your maximum life and disable your witch powers with a summon tag for 6 seconds. This can only occur once every 75 seconds. Still, it's a get out of jail card. It's a prevent this run from being shit. It's quite some easy GG. And if you don't want to look for something fancy pantsy, your summons deal 25% increased direct damage to hexed elites and bosses. I'll take that as well. The boost to Army of the Dead will truly streamline the necromancer. Usually as you start getting more equipment and move your way into Torment 4, you actually don't feel like you're getting stronger. You feel like you're getting weaker, and weaker. Because your minions just simply can't keep up, and you'll hit a certain wall and that's it. No more progress. But now with actually having an Army of the Dead that keeps growing with you, especially with every piece of golem mastery. And hell, I don't even have gloves with Skeletal Mage Mastery right now because we're experimenting with Fist of Fate. And then as well on the Paragon boards, you get yourself Skeletal Mage damage. That factors in as well. Golem damage. You level up your glyphs further for more multipliers, even more golem damage. You get the golem glyph, and all that golem bonus damage also multiplies in. So not only does your golem get consistently stronger, no, your Army of the Dead is finally growing with you and doesn't feel like just a production mechanism for corpses. Nah, it's a true menacing bonus damage tool that just gives you more fun and more versatility with this build in terms of damage sources. Why is the corpse explosion in? Because they changed Reaper's Pursuit. For each darkness skill in your action bar, gain increased movement speed and 6% more damage. Got Blight, got Corpse Explosion, 12% more damage. Which is also looking really interesting for Blight builds because the Eben Pierce amulet has up to 7 ranks into Reaper's Pursuit. Well, you'll be able to gain a huge ton of bonus multiplier. Ladies and gentlemen, excited for Summoner Necro because I personally am. Season 7 looking pretty damn juicy, and this is not even the strongest build that Necro will have going on. Bloodwave should be absolutely over multiplying. Bone Spirit is going to be stronger than ever. Blight is finally going to soar. Necro is truly going to be a menace. If you want to see more about the Season 7 theme and how it plays, there is the video. Enjoy and have a fantastic good day.